Like, oh, crime.
It's part of
we have that.
part of the Puerto Rican mafia.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah. We want to talk about those things.
Is that what's called the Puerto Rican mafia? They're like, yeah, I'm in the Puerto Rican mafia.
Why do you say Porto?
Because I'm white and I can't speak Spanish.
but it's,
Porto potty.
But it's pretty.
Puerto Rican. Guys, I'm sorry.
So with that, hey everyone, welcome to Geek Envy Podcast episode 29. My name is Eric, and this podcast is about video games, geek culture, and anything else we want to talk about. First off, I want to apologize that it's been about a month since we've you guys have last really heard from us. We've taken a step back, and we were kind of trying to regroup and figure out what we're trying to do. But here we are with the usual cast. I'm here with Joey and Matt. Say hello, guys.
We don't owe no one no apology.
I mean, I want to make sure that they understand that we're not just slacking off or getting lost in the sauce, you know?
No, we were.
Yeah, we were.
We were lost in the sauce.
Definitely lost in the sauce. But we are back. We're here just to try to regroup and make sure that we're part of your daily lives. One thing I do want to point out is that...
Bi-weekly.
Yeah, bi-weekly daily lives. I want to
Don't get too attached to us.
Well, talking about being attached, we are now on Spotify.
Wait, is it bi-weekly or bi-monthly?
No, bi-weekly. Bi-weekly.
But is that 2 times a week or is that 2 times a month?
No.
I think it's half a week.
No, bi-weekly is...
Bi-weekly is half a week.
You're right.
Maybe we're more like semi-weekly because we're 2 times a month, but we're not always every other week, right?
No, bi-weekly is every
bi-weekly says appearing or taking place every 2 weeks.
Okay, alright. We solved that.
What is bi-monthly then? Every 2 months?
See? He's interested.
Oh.
This is what our fans come...
You guys
Occurring or produced
You guys are killing my
twice a
intro
month.
here.
Bi-monthly can be both twice a month or every 2 months, which actually bi-monthly fits us better because we're either twice a month or every 2 months.
Ah.
So
You heard it here first. We're bi-monthly.
Officially bi-monthly.
Alright, considering shitting on my intro here, I'm trying to tell people about the good news, which is even though we've taken a long break, we are now up on Spotify. So I think that's one of the biggest things we can talk about, that we finally were able to get through. We submitted ourselves, and Spotify gave us the thumbs up. So
we passed the test.
I know some people were asking about us as that preferred platform for listening, so there we go.
I had to do a drug test for that, just so people know.
Oh, man. I don't want to know what they caught in your system.
Well, they didn't catch anything that's wrong.
I don't even know what they test for.
Drugs.
What would matter?
PCP.
Performance enhancing drugs.
All drugs.
All drugs.
Gotta have a level podcast playing field. Sorry, I've been watching the Tour de France.
We're ruining Eric's intro.
Mm-hmm.
It's been ruined. Anyway, guys, so we've in the past month that we've been away, we have actually played some games. Some of us have actually played games with each other or the same type of game. So this has been good to kind of run through the different type of things we've been playing, and kind of slightly different rather than us just rambling off and telling you what we've been playing with little interest. We'll start off with Joey, who has been playing Oxenfree on a bad platform. I don't know why he decided on the PS4 versus the Switch. But
because I did it because of the 4K output.
4K output, yeah, because that game really needs 4K output.
It's because Joey hates the Switch. He just hates it.
I know, right?
Today,
so let's talk about it.
So just a little side tangent. Today, Joey and I played a Switch game together, and when he had to get out of the Switch, he said, "Man, this thing is dusty."
I'll admit to that. It's very dusty right now.
So
it's not my preferred platform at the moment.
All right, I want to ask about that, but I also want to just talk about Oxenfree first. So,
okay,
what were your thoughts on this?
Loved it.
Why?
Best. It's probably in my top 2 games of the year.
Wait. That's a very high claim. I've got to ask.
Yeah, it's
why,
there.
Why is
top
it
2 that
up
you've
there?
played?
Yeah, exactly. Top 2 games that I've played this year. I feel like it has a very natural dialogue system. So for those that aren't aware, Oxenfree is essentially like a moving visual novel that lets you make dialogue choices to affect the story. So I really like the dialogue choice system, especially as you go through the game. You can choose to answer. You can choose to converse with your various friends in the game as you go through it in the way that you want. And there's flexible options. They're really good options, and they have like you can kind of sense the effect they're gonna have, but the effects they do end up having are like meaningful to the game. It's not like a normal visual novel where you're like, I'm just trying to make
a choice.
One of these girls. I'm just trying to end up with one of these females at the end of the game. In Oxenfree, it's like every choice can affect a specific relationship.
It's which oxen are free in the game.
Yeah, well, the title doesn't really. I would say my biggest beef with the game is the title of the game.
So the oxen have yokes.
All right. So Matt throws in commentary, but he's only played about 20 minutes of the game and lost interest.
The only positive element of the title is that it is true. The game is free of oxen, but that's it. There's no oxen in the game.
I think the title is a kind of callback to like the Ollie Ollie Oxenfree, that kind of a saying of or calling of sorts, and
what that language,
and whether it was geared towards the kind of supernatural side because you're always looking for something. But I mean, I'm just making. I'm going off the top of my head. I don't know if that was one.
Agree. I don't know what Ollie Ollie Oxenfree is. Is that like Marco Polo?
Well, Marco Polo is like a game played, but yeah, it's that calling out of like Ollie Ollie Oxenfree.
Did you do that when? Didn't you do that? Don't you do Ollie Ollie Oxenfree when you're doing hide and seek? And then when you've what?
This must be a cultural difference.
Yeah, I don't know.
I've never done.
I've
never
heard
done
the saying, but I've never.
Anyways,
I don't think I've ever said it.
But the game is
Isn't
really.
it a song?
I think no
Yeah,
matter what platform you play it on, Oxenfree is just a really good game.
Ollie Oxenfree.
What
lyrics. Oh my gosh, guys, it's a song.
And you beat it, Eric, right? So what did you think of it?
I did, and so I would disagree with you with it being top game of the year.
No, number 2.
Okay.
In my top 2.
No. Even in the top 2 makes it sound like you've played very little games.
What was your beef with it?
My beef with Oxenfree wasn't so much that it wasn't a good game, or at least there was a lot of dialogue option. For me, it was the fact that it seems so. I don't know if it's an age thing for us, and the fact that we're slightly older, and maybe some of the younger, I guess, content, or at least the kind of discussions that are happening. Because in Oxenfree, you play as a girl who is hanging out on a beach for a night on an island, and you're kind of reminiscing about your brother who passed away, and that's not a spoiler because that happens like in the first part of the game. It's talked about. But then it gets very supernatural, and things start happening. People start getting possessed. You're trying to find things that are happening. It was more so the conversations for me that seemed so unrealistic and so pulled me out. Like, no one has these kind of conversations. Like, no one's like, hey, like, we all grew up and we're going through this, and whoa, stop being such a bitch,
Yeah, I can agree with that. It has it has movie conversations the same way that, like, in movies they always say the person's name that they're about to talk to, even though like the person might be the only person in the room.
It's like
Charles.
Whoa, Jen,
like, nobody says
calm
like
down.
Matt. I'm
Joey.
going to say this right now.
Ollie Ollie Oxenfree is a catchphrase used in children's games such as hide and seek, capture the flag,
hide and
or
seek.
kick
I knew
the
it.
can, to indicate that players who are hiding can come out into the open without losing the game, that the position of the sides in the game have changed, or alternatively, that the game is just completely over.
Gotcha.
Well, and
that makes
a lot of sense considering that the the spirits were always kind of like hiding in
Whoa.
sorts.
Spoilers.
No, that's not spoilers.
If you haven't played past the cave, it's spoilers.
Oh, you mean like Matt?
Yeah.
I walked up to the cave,
That's when it gets interesting, though.
and then I turned off the game.
I mean, long story short, Oxenfree was good enough for me to finish the game. I just had no motivation to play it after. Would you go back and play for the multiple endings?
Well, okay, there's only 2 endings, really. There's 3... Technically, I think 3 endings.
Actually, I think there's 4. There's a secret ending.
No,
after you beat.
I just said the word technically, so that means that's the final truth there. When someone says,
there's
okay,
a 4th
there
ending.
you go. So I think there's 3 endings, and I think you're. I don't really know if there's failure. So I think you can only succeed in different ways. So no.
So
in short, no. I wouldn't go back.
Failure
And
is
play it.
just succeeding in a different way.
I mean, there's a collectibles aspect of the game too. There's certain codex that you got to pick up or something. My one plus on that game was that the radio that you had to kind of turn the knob to adjust for the.
Yes.
That was the best part in terms of like immersion.
So here's the benefit to playing Oxenfree on a PS4 versus the Nintendo Switch. The PS4 has audio output built into the controller. So in the game, you're given a handheld radio.
On the Nintendo Switch, the screen is built into the controller.
Okay, wait. Hold up.
The speakers are there
no,
too.
Wait. So in the Switch, though, that's still one contained piece of audio output. However, on the PS4, if you're playing with the audio coming out of your television, and you're playing with the DualShock 4 controller, you're gonna get.
It feels like a handheld radio.
Yeah, it feels like 2 pieces. So you feel like you have a handheld radio with you. Having this radio is amazing because throughout different areas of the game, you're picking up different stations. So you're not only just picking up information that's useful for the game. You're picking up eerie stuff. You're picking up slight weird things that kind of add to how freaky the game feels.
Is there lost time? Do they have lost time?
Yes.
I might have to play it. It's like X-Files.
How did you know that? How did you figure there was lost time in it?
Because it's like a big alien thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's not really alien.
He's played
No,
Beyond
that's
the
a real
Cave.
thing. No, that's like a real thing in real life. People have lost time. They'll be like driving somewhere.
Yeah, I'm
their
losing time right now.
Their car shuts off. Everything stops, and the next thing you know is 4 hours later. They don't know where that time went.
Yeah.
They don't know. If there's.
So it does have. I'm telling you, get past the cave, and you'll really enjoy the game. You have it. You own it on Switch, right?
There's some YouTube channels you can watch where people talk about these things.
Oh god! All right, we gotta cut Matt off.
But playing on the PS4 does have. So I'm sitting, in the dark late at night, with my PS4 on, with my DualShock 4. I have the DualShock 4 held up to my ear, listening to what's coming out of the radio. That's, to me, that was an added element and a positive for playing the game on the PS4 versus the Switch.
All right.
I personally don't want to have to hold the controller to my ear.
You're gonna have to because
I want to be able to hear all the things.
You're holding the entire Switch up to your face.
Yeah, but I'm not holding it up to my ear because my eyes are in the front of my head.
All right.
So to wrap up Oxenfree, I would say almost let's try to give this a rating so that if people are interested in the kind of what we've thrown out there to pick this up. For me, I would probably give this, if we're going a 5 out of 5 kind of deal, probably a 3 out of 5. Story was good. The dialogue turned me off. The supernatural aspect was also good, and the radio and kind of controls were good enough.
Mm-hmm. And you played it on Switch?
Yeah, I played it on the Switch.
I can see how that would affect your score because you didn't have the radio. I would give it a 4 out of 5. I would say it's worth a playthrough, and you shouldn't feel like you have to play it through multiple times because I don't really think it's there's not that many trophies to the game anyway. So if you're a trophy hunter, like it's doable in a short time. But
on the Switch,
it's
there
not
are no
really
trophies,
necessary.
so you don't have to worry about that.
Yep.
You just play and
Another
enjoy the
disadvantage of the Switch.
game for what it is.
Oh, and then
But yeah, it's a good game.
and then
For the supernatural elements alone, it's good.
and then asterisk is wait for this to go on sale. Don't buy this at full price.
Yeah, I don't
got
even
it for
think.
$5.
Yeah, I don't think it can be purchased expensively anymore.
Jody
Unless
bought
limited
it
run
5
games-
times for $5.
Unless limited run games puts it out, then maybe $40. But I might buy it physically if
I think it
LRG
is
put it out.
physical.
No,
Is it? No.
not yet. All right, so we're gonna move on to Muv Luv Extra, which you both have played and I have not. So I'm gonna hand over the reins.
Limited run number 37 was an
What?
Oxenfree
Are you kidding me?
for PS4.
Holy shit! Gotta eBay that.
Wait, on Vita or Switch?
On PS4.
Oh, PS4. All right, never mind. It'll probably come out on the Switch at some point.
Okay, so my Amazon order of Ni no Kuni 2 Revenant whatever collector's edition
Mm-hmm.
used acceptable via Amazon has shipped. So I'll have to see how that turns out.
How much you get that for?
Like 52?
$52 the
But it's
collector's?
used acceptable. So it could be the box could be
Is that the one with the like whole
yeah.
diorama?
The box could be like basically unusable.
Dear God.
All right, we completely shot off track.
Sorry. You're the leader. Lead us.
I was. All right, Muv
Oh my
Luv
God, I'm gonna go
Extra.
for-
You and Matt have played this. I have not. I was going to hand over the reins to you guys to talk about this, but you win.
Yeah, so Matt,
So let me preface Muv Luv.
go ahead and preface it.
Preface.
Sure.
Preface. So, Joey and I both enjoyed the occasional visual novel. I personally like visual novels to be almost like a really good book. It has to have like a lot of substance and stuff like that.
But with hentai.
No, that's not a requirement. So, like, for instance, Steins Gate is a visual novel we both have enjoyed very much. It has a lot of cool sci-fi elements, and it's just a really well-written story. And I've always noticed that Muv Luv is always on, like, the best visual novels of all time list with that and Fate's Stay Night and a couple other games. And so I've always been kind of interested to play it, but they say that the best one is Alternative, which is technically the third game, or technically it's the second game.
In the Muv Luv series.
But the first game is like 2 games combined. There's Muv Luv Extra and Unlimited in one package.
Yeah.
And originally what you had to do is you had to play through Extra, which was like a high school comedy romance. And then once you beat that, you unlock this other mode called Unlimited, which was actually a completely different game with a completely different story and alternate dimension, and it was a completely different genre.
And can you just imagine how many people played through the original Muv Luv but never got to the second game?
Yeah, it's probably... Yeah. So, and then Alternative picks up... That's the sequel. Picks up right after Unlimited. So it's in the same storyline as Unlimited. So, this just came out on Vita recently, so Joey and I both picked it up. I pushed myself pretty hard to get through Muv Luv Extra.
Mm-hmm.
It was a little rough.
It is. It's very cliche.
It's almost like a parody of itself, though, because it kind of does all the typical anime rom-com tropes, but...
And it has your typical cast of characters. It has the loli. It has someone who's not a loli but still flat-chested. It has girls who are like overly formal. It has someone who's like
It has
tsundere.
it has like a fate fighting maid in it.
Yeah,
type.
so it has like it's very cliche.
So it's super cliche, but it's almost like tongue-in-cheek parodying itself because it's so over the top. So it was I would call it mildly enjoyable. Like I was okay with one playthrough of it, but towards the end I was ready for it to end.
Yeah, and so I finished Muv Luv Extra, and you finished it also, and we both chose different waifus.
Yeah, because there's 2 main routes. So originally, in order to unlock Unlimited, there's like 2 main girls and then a couple side character girls. So in order to unlock Unlimited, originally you had to play through the route of the two main girls. So you had to play through the game twice, actually, to unlock Unlimited.
Yeah. It's important to note that the two main girls, one of them's a childhood friend, and one of them's super rich, like almost royalty type thing, which is not important to
mention.
Carries
a sword around and uses
of course.
it on people in school. It's very strange.
So yeah, once you get through Muv Luv Extra, you're kind of like, okay, that was not special at all. But then I played through Muv Luv Unlimited, which is the second half of the first game that Matt was talking about, and you start to see why playing through Extra becomes important. It's a completely different game. It's sci-fi based, in the same realm as Steins Gate. It's like multi-dimensional.
It's like
based.
post-apocalyptic.
Mm-hmm. And post-apocalyptic.
And it has all the characters from Extra, but they're in different roles. And so the main character remembers the events of Extra, but no one else experienced them.
Exactly. He's in a different timeline, essentially. A different reality. So that's Muv Luv Unlimited. And I beat that, and playing through the end is... It's similar to Extra, in which you're going after a specific girl, and then you have an ending that is just slightly not really satisfying, and so that lack of that
closure,
unsatisfaction, is what made me jump straight into Alternative, and then Alternative, which Matt was saying, is supposed to be like the coup de grace.
That's the
of this
one that's
series.
Like often you'll see like on visual novel sites, it's rated in the top 5 all the time.
Right. So once you start Alternative, everything you've done in Extra and Unlimited, all the time you've put in, becomes valuable to you, because you really get the sense of all the connections and the sense of urgency that's in Alternative is more meaningful because you've played through the first two. So it's really good. Alternative doesn't feel as much choice-based as Extra and Unlimited. It's more like you're just enjoying the story as it plays out. But they're both on Vita. They're a little pricey. So
yeah, I think they debuted at like $40, right, or $40 or $50.
Yeah,
they're 40 each, but the first one is like 2 games.
So I would recommend waiting for a sale, but they've been fun, and you do see. So like I played Steins Gate first because that was available on Vita earlier, and you can kind of see like how Steins Gate might have been influenced by a game like Muv Luv.
So would you guys give this in terms of like ratings? Would you say like a plus? Yes, no?
Well, we can only both rate Extra right now. I'd give Extra like a 3 out of 5 just for being necessary.
I played Unlimited enough to not regret playing Extra, but when I finished playing Extra, I was like, this better pay off, because like whenever I read people talking about the game, they were always like, okay, Extra's a little rough, just play through it, get the gist of what's going on, and then jump into Unlimited. And so I did that, and now I'm at a point where they're talking about like the history of what's happened in this timeline since like the 1930s, and it's super interesting to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
it
it's
changes
a cool premise.
When you start Unlimited. So after you play Extra, you might be like, well, why did I do that? And then when you jump into Unlimited, there's that quick switch of like, oh, this might be worth something. It
starts out super intriguing. You're like trying to figure out what's going on, and then it introduces all this like cool backstory, and it's a good story.
But Extra itself, when you play through it feels like an anime that you'd put down after a couple episodes.
Oh no!
It's
without knowing that you should stick around because it's going to be worth it, you wouldn't stick around.
I don't want to spoil too much, but like there's a sports tournament in it, and they're trying to save a club at one point.
There's a school festival,
and then there's like the class rep who's like always angry at everyone, but everyone's trying to help her.
Yeah, it has all the cliches,
all the tropes,
all the cliches of every anime you've seen.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that sounds intriguing, but not at the same time. I think
it's a commitment.
What's up?
That it's a commitment that will pay off. Maybe, hopefully. I don't know. So far, Steins Gate, 100% awesome.
So
this game, I'm not sure yet.
Yeah. So I'll say about Steins Gate. Steins Gate. Let's compare mood of visual novels. If you're playing a visual novel, like one of those Sakura visual novels, you're mainly there for the eye candy. It's a positive story.
Right.
Nothing's really happening in it.
It's kind of like supposed to be funny.
Yeah. If you're playing Steins Gate is going to rip your heart out. Steins Gate is going to make you question life. Steins Gate is going to put you into depression for a couple weeks after you play Steins Gate.
Also, it's got that like fear of the unknown thing happening. There's like a lot of weird science-related phenomena happening that you don't know what's real and what's not, and it's interesting.
And I put Muv Luv in between that. It has elements of both of those. It's like it's both trying to be a little campy and trying to be a little deep at the same time. I don't know if that helps anyone at all.
It might guide them in the right direction.
My only concern is that it is a little pricey right now. For $80 to have this experience is kind of pricey.
Yeah, I think that pushes a lot of people out of wanting to get invested into a visual novel like this.
Well, I mean, I would just look at the first one, and if that ever goes on sale, buy that, play through that. Don't buy the second one at that point. And then if you like it, then you can spend the money.
Yeah, if you make it to both, you're probably going to buy the second one.
All right. So moving on from that, I think the only other kind of game that we've all played, or at least Matt and I have played in passing, is Pokemon Go. So this, of course, is a mobile platform game. They've just introduced a couple new features, which is trading and friends. It used to,
which has gotten me back into the game, because I played it when it first came out.
So did I.
And then my sister plays it now, and a coworker plays it, and Eric plays it. So I got a couple friends.
Yeah, so
great.
So for those who don't know, Pokemon Go, actually, surprisingly enough, a lot of people thought that this game died out a long time ago. Has still been going strong. It's implemented a bunch of new features, a bunch of community-based events, and they've just, as of like a week or two ago, allowed you to have friends, which is something that I would have thought would have been from a day one kind of thing, where you could meet up and do, what do they call those, where you go out and try to take down
raids?
Yes, raids. So they've had raids for a while now, but they haven't had the idea of being able to do raids with friends, or at least have a friend in your team profile.
Right.
But now they've included it where you can have a kind of friendship rating up to 4 hearts or 4 stars or whatever you want to call it. But you do that over time, and for every level that you increase, you get extra XP. The amount that it costs you to trade Pokemon between each other, and kind of bonuses you get for doing raids goes up. But yeah, it's a time sink of a game, as much as you may think it's not. Like, you could do it in passing. For me, I find myself on the bus to and from work spending more time throwing Pokeballs than I do actually playing my Switch for the past like month almost. I don't know what the experience has been for you, Matt, and I know Joey hasn't gotten back in, but we're trying to sucker him into this.
I mainly play if I'm like going out to a restaurant or going out shopping. I'll pop it out, or I'll pop it out while I'm like walking from the parking lot inside. I don't play that hardcore, so I still like when I go. I normally eat lunch in my car because I like to like go spend time alone, and I still play my Switch. I don't.
But what is keeping you going? Like, what? I mean, you're catching Pokemon. Like,
gotta get that next Pokemon.
That doesn't really excite me.
Get excited about Pokemon.
Well, no, I
can go catch every Pokemon in a real Pokemon game.
Listen, so games are meaningless in the end.
This is a game.
Well, I guess.
Well, no. I could see Joey's argument to this, and with Pokemon Go, it's not like I can go to the Safari Zone or I can go to like a forest area to catch a specific Pokemon. With with Pokemon Go, it's based on weather and if you
can't
go to
anywhere.
a park
You
or
don't have a
something.
vehicle.
And
honestly, it's kind of almost like it's cool that you're in the real world and it's affecting what you're doing. It's like basically like loot boxes based on where you are,
Okay.
but they're free.
I think it plays on the immersion aspect, right? With it being real life, and you can kind of have that augmented reality switch on, and you see a Pokemon in the tall grass, which may be a park with overgrown weeds, but you're there and you're throwing Pokeballs.
I mean, that doesn't really get me as much. The coolest experiences I've had with Pokemon Go are when, like, I'm out and you notice someone else playing it, and then everyone's like, "Oh, did you see that Pokemon over there?" And everyone's like playing together. It's kind of interesting how it brings people together in real life.
I've almost had that interaction, but I guess because I'm more in the city environment, that Pokemon Go isn't.
It's like everyone's playing.
Well, not so much everyone's playing, but it isn't as. The next Pokestop isn't a mile away, or isn't that we have to go actively search for a Pokemon. I could literally go corner to corner, and I have 3 Pokemon in each corner, and there's no incentive for me to like really run down the block to find that one hidden Pokemon, because I'll get it eventually.
Yeah. Well, so like for instance, so my experience living in Raleigh is like a small town feel city type thing. So for 4th of July, we went to a park where they were going to put off some fireworks by a lake. And where we happened to put down our blanket on the grass was right by a Pokestop. So I was like obviously like catching Pokemon out there all day, and like I would be like hitting the Pokestop every time it refreshed. And then I would put a lure on it, and then I noticed like some other people were putting lures on it, and then when I was like, "Oh man, you put that lure on there," and like I met people through it. It was kind of cool. So stuff like that was kind of interesting, I think.
And I mean, to answer your question, at least for me, Joey, is the idea of continuing to play, I guess more hardcore, at least to continue playing the game, is that even if you catch a Pokemon, to evolve them, it isn't as simple as just leveling up. You have to continuously catch more Pokemon, and I don't know, it becomes this kind of not addiction, but
it becomes a
urge.
perpetual grind.
Yeah, the urge is
forever
there to continue,
that you have to do.
and like, all right, I got to catch a couple more. I've got to use a berry or something to give me more Poke Candies.
And right now you can catch a Pikachu. It's got sunglasses
And a hat.
sun hat.
And a sun hat.
Alright, yeah, I can totally see how it can scratch an itch if you have that itch. And I don't think I have that itch at all.
Joey's not itchy.
Nah.
Yes. I bathe regularly.
I mean, to kind of wrap it up, though, it's definitely one of those things that if you have the time, or if you're in a place that you can easily hit Pokestops and have Pokeballs without paying, because I wouldn't advocate anyone putting money into something like this.
Have I told you the story about how
Yeah.
I accidentally paid for this?
You have $80 worth of credit or something like that.
I got $100 worth, and I still have about like 30 of it left still, and it's been like 3 years. Or however long it's been since it started. Maybe it was 2 years, 2016, I think.
But yes, I would say it's something for fun, and even if you only pick it up once or twice a day, it's still something that gives you the real life feel of catching Pokemon as close to real life as it could be. And then you have Pokemon Go, or Let's Go Pokemon on the Switch coming up, that integrates a lot of what Pokemon Go does.
I pre-ordered the bundle of that with the Pokeball.
Oh no,
I did it.
you did.
Is it both games with the ball?
No, it's one game with the ball.
One game with the ball.
Which game?
I got Pikachu.
Bad choice.
The right choice.
Well,
no,
okay.
the right choice.
I like Eevee better personally, but my daughter doesn't know what Eevee is, and she knows who Pikachu is, and I want her to play it.
Gotcha.
So I was like, she'll like that one better.
And with that,
The parents sacrifice.
and with the cemented choice of the child picking Pikachu, this is a perfect moment for us to take a break and go into new releases and announcements. So with that, Joey, take us away.
Did you want to take an actual break?
No.
You have to pee.
Is it intermission?
You have to urinate.
All right, let's go pee.
Play some strings.
Play
All right.
strings.
Well, if we had
No,
sponsors, this would be like a perfect spot for like
orchestra.
for Play some commercials.
Oh, I thought that was like some weird
Dim the lights.
analogy for
We're
peeing.
coming back. All right, news, releases, and announcements. Let's hit it up. Let's talk about the new announcements we've had in the last couple weeks. On July 4th, the day of our independence, the anniversary of our freedom, Nekopara released on the Switch. Only Volume 1. I'm hoping it released with some like weird skins that you can put on your little cat girls. Nekopara is a visual novel that features cat girls that work for your French cafe. I only know that because I've played the Nekopara visual novel and regretted every moment of it. Anyways, moving on. But that's on Switch now. Switch is getting very interesting content. It seems like Nintendo is being very hands-off with what gets on there, and that's actually pretty cool. So
I think you should like the Switch more.
I give them thumbs up for that. Of course, we'll never see uncensored content on any type of major system, so thumbs down for that. But PS4 doesn't have that either. Anyways, moving on. July 6th, Night Trap released on the Switch. I did attempt to get... This is out digitally and physically. Physically is on LRG, Limited Run Games, and you can pre-order a Night Trap physical release for the cost of $29.99, $24.99. Anyways, I'm not shilling for LRG. But there's also a collector's edition, which I missed out on both times. I'm on the wait list and very annoyed about that.
I saw you request on Twitter if they're going to be at the con we're going to.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Did they reply?
No.
Damn it.
So I'm hoping maybe they'll be at Raleigh SuperCon, and I'll be able to pick up a collector's edition version of Switch. That CE has some cool stuff in it.
On a side note, usually LRG does hold a certain amount for any con they attend, and it being Raleigh, North Carolina, where they're also local, too, I would give a good percentage for you being able to find.
So this is probably the biggest convention that features gaming.
You mean like 300 people show up?
No, like...
What else is there in
it's
Raleigh?
Sold out. I think they've been averaging 500 tickets a week. 500 tickets a day this week.
Wow.
So there's like thousands of people. But they weren't at Playthrough, which is like a smaller gaming convention. Normally like small indie developers show up at that. So I didn't expect them to be there, but they were.
We shall see. But Night Trap is available digitally now if you don't want to wait for a physical version. And that's also on everything else. July 10th, we've got, that is today as we record, Shining Resonance Refrain released on Switch, PS4, and Xbox One. I got a chance to take a look at Black Waltz's Switch steel case. Very snazzy. I do like how they're not just not doing a Switch steelbook for these releases.
Yeah, like that's not a steelbook. It's like literally like a steel shell that
slip
goes over.
Yeah,
it's like a slip cover over the normal game, and then there's another plastic slip cover. Over the steel slip cover.
This should be called Switch Shining Resonance. This slip cover. It does have 2 slip covers for the actual game, but that's out. Reviews haven't been great for this, but it's kind of all we've got for JRPGs right now.
I feel like a Shining game hasn't reviewed well since 2.
I mean,
Shining Force 2.
It'll probably be fine.
Is it Shining Force 2? The Genesis one?
Yeah.
That's like the last one. Maybe the Saturn one, I think.
It'll probably be fine. And it's on Xbox, so for those who only Xbox but still want a JRPG experience, it is there too. I do want to make one note on Oxenfree. The Xbox experience is just slightly different than it is on PS4 and Switch. Slightly different. Don't want to tell you how, because that's spoilers, but that's might be a reason to play through it twice.
So do you have it on Xbox as well?
No. Haven't spent $5 there
Actually,
yet.
it might be on sale right now. They have like a big indie sale.
It probably is. July 13th, Octopath Traveler releases on the Switch, finally. Who got through the 3-hour demo?
I didn't even download the demo.
Black Waltz?
Did you
get through the demo?
I started as a character, I think the thief, and I like walked around the first world, and I was kind of starting to get a little bit interested, so I stopped playing.
Okay. I started as the hunter, which is a female character, and got a little bit. I got through the first battle and haven't picked it back up
Like,
again.
it was getting intriguing.
It's good. It's just you got to be willing to like. Just like if you pick up a big novel, you got to be ready to jump into something deep.
Oxenfree's on Game Pass, so you already got it.
That's right. So if you have Game Pass, you can try out Oxenfree on the Xbox One. Also releasing July 13th is Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. That's releasing on the Switch and 3DS. Is this the Wii U?
Yeah, I was just
remaster?
about to say this is a Wii U release already.
Yeah. Has anyone played this previously?
Nope.
So like, that's cool and all, but what we really want is Xenoblade Chronicles X and Tokyo Mirage Sessions.
Yes and yes.
We want those on Switch.
Mm-hmm.
Stop porting mediocre Switch.
Well, it's a Mario IP, so of course it's gonna bring him in some money.
That's true.
Yeah, it's I guess an easy thing to do. I'm surprised it's getting remastered on Switch though. July 17th, coming out on everything possible, is Sonic Mania Plus.
That's the physical one, right?
Yes.
Yes. And then Hand of Fate 2.
Is there a special edition that gets me like a cool like
another Genesis?
Yes.
Or maybe something to put on top of it?
It's a Sega Genesis with the Sonic Kart in it, I think was the special edition thing.
Is it still available?
I'm not sure, but
You've been drinking. I don't think you should make any purchases at the moment.
It had like not even a full beer. It's like a fraction of the beer.
But it's 8%.
Doesn't matter. Let him buy it. Go, Matthew.
Oh, man, he's using my full name.
We don't restrict people's purchases here. All right, let's move into the news. We did have a few things that have been kind of happening the last few months, and I think some of this stuff stems from the E3 news also. Fortnite released on the Switch, but of course people were disappointed there because Sony did not give access to users. They were not allowed to utilize their Fortnite accounts on their Switches if they had initially created them on a Sony console. So yeah, like Black Waltz, he can't use all his special clothes that he's purchased.
I have not purchased anything.
That he purchased with his own money.
Never.
I
have, however, gotten a lot of free stuff from like Twitch Prime and stuff like that.
So yeah, that's a thing. Sony continues to contain their system, while Nintendo has continued to expand.
Well, it's not even that. It's the whole discussion of crossplay, right? I think Xbox dove into that and allowed the crossplay to function between Switch and Xbox Fortnite, but Sony still, for some reason, just won't allow it.
I mean, I get it. Sony's winning. Like, the Switch is doing really well right now, but Sony's been, like, winning for years. Xbox hasn't. So, they're going to saddle up to the next guy, you know?
Yeah.
Ride that gravy train.
It's not a great move. It's not a great look for Sony.
I don't think it's going to cost them sales, though.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many PS4s already out there that I don't even think they're concerned about sales.
Yeah, I don't think there's no downside to saying no. There's only ups that they can have exclusivity.
Right. But of course, there's only ups for everyone else having crossplay.
I mean, for gamers, there's downsides, but for Sony as a business.
What else? Sony recently, it's been a while now. They released, they are releasing a line of PlayStation hits. I don't know if we've seen anything physical yet in terms of these releases, but
things are already discounted. Like at Best Buy, you can get all these games for like if you have GCU, it's like $15.
Right, but a line of games has come out.
RIP, sorry.
What?
GCU, RIP.
Yes, GCU did.
RIP. But what I love about the PlayStation Hits thing is that they brought back the whole red banner, or at least the whole case for the PlayStation 4 games is red.
So that's literally everything I hated about Greatest Hits for every.
That is the worst.
Yeah, like they were green, that sucked, and then they like made them red, that sucked too. I just wanted them to be the normal color.
Yeah, does it really matter?
Yeah.
Do they need to change the colors?
I
The red
didn't
banner,
like it
a
when-
red banner
when-
at the front is fine.
When Nintendo did the Player's Choice seal
Yeah, that's
for
okay.
theirs, that was a little bit better. Still not as good as getting the one without that seal.
That's true. It's like a clear indication they've got the second pressing of a really good album.
Like, you weren't hardcore enough to buy the game before it was popular. You only got it after everyone made it.
And we want everyone to know that.
Yeah.
It's
some
the
good
scarlet
games.
letter.
Exactly.
It's the red letter of you only bought it because there was hype.
Right. But some definite good games in that PlayStation Hits lineup, so you can grab those digitally if you want for stuff like Battlefield. Of course, that might come into like a greater use of you to have digitally. Project Cars the same. Last of Us Remastered is on that list. I'm surprised to see the Yakuza games. Maybe not Yakuza 0 necessarily, but I'm surprised to see Kiwami.
I think it's cool that they got on there, though.
Yeah, it is cool.
Because they're not games that, like all these other games, like everyone's played them.
Yeah, that's true. And so that definitely exposes Yakuza to a
I
bigger...
feel like Sony's really trying to push Drive Club. Drive Club was okay.
They got Drive Club and Project Cars on here.
Drive Club is like, out of all the options you have for cars games, it's probably like the third, fourth best.
However, Drive Club might have VR stuff. I can't
Drive Club
remember.
also was like kind of free for PlayStation Plus, wasn't it?
Not sure.
I think there's a version that's free.
I wonder if the Drive Club VR stuff comes in the $20. I will check that out. Late comment from Michael Ansel from Ubisoft says that there'll be a beta for Beyond Good and Evil 2 sometime in late 2019.
Right,
So
we're not going to play that game until
Yeah, that's a 2021 game, if anything.
expect this game never. It might even come out for PS5.
Except it's
GameStop.
been at like E3 for like the past 2 years.
Yep.
In
And
a big way.
That is kind of, if we want to talk about E3 later, we can, but that is kind of one of my annoyances about E3 is that we've been talking about the same games for so long. GameStop is in talks for a potential buyout. That happened a couple of months ago, but I don't think anything
So what does that
came
mean?
of that.
Is that an investor buyout? Because if
Yeah.
it changes hands, that doesn't mean that much.
And yeah,
It just
and if
means
it
someone
changes
else is making the
hands,
money.
right?
Yeah.
And it's like what, what are the hands being changed? Because like ThinkGeek and GameStop are essentially one and the same now. So like, what is really
I'm
happening?
assuming they would stay together.
Yeah, the thing is with GameStop is that with physical sales declining and the picking up of ThinkGeek and all that kind of, I guess, memorabilia and physical board games and such, it's actually kept them afloat.
Mm-hmm. They should just merge.
I thought
Like,
It should be ThinkStop or GameGeek.
they basically are. So, like, for instance, a lot of people freak out when they hear buyout. They think that means, like, it's going to go away. Like, my company has changed hands a couple times. It still has the same leadership. It's just that there's a different investor, like, holding... There's, like, a different board.
Yeah.
Some different board members.
Different disappointed people wondering why they aren't making more money.
Exactly.
And the final news that we have for today, news that just came in today. I received Ace of Seafood from Limited Run Games in the mail today. That was Limited Run Games release number, and it doesn't work.
wait, what?
Put it in my PS4 release only, and it comes up as corrupted data.
It said corrupted data, and he put it in multiple times, and he couldn't get it to play.
Wait. So how's this news?
What's news to me?
Well, the news is that Joey has now created a ticket
Mm-hmm. So
with Limited Run Games, so we will be waiting to hear back from them.
yeah, I might have to go down there in person and I'll probably knock, and then I'll have the copy of Ace of Seafood and I'll hold it up to the window and just like rub it around on the window, and then expose myself or something. I don't know. Whatever it takes. We're gonna get this game replaced, and I'm gonna play Ace of Seafood at some point.
Why'd you even buy this game?
When a game such as Ace of Seafood comes out, and you can barely find any information about it, and it just seems completely ridiculous. And it only costs $24.99. Eric, you're asking too many questions.
I asked him what the game was because I didn't know, and he said, "I don't know."
I don't know. You can't even tell
I don't know
from
what the hell this game is.
You can't even tell from the back of the game because it's just pictures of fish, and you're like, okay, so either I'm cooking fish, or I'm fishing for fish, or I am a fish.
Is it like a like a shooter? I think it's like a shooter in the sea.
I think it's going to be similar to in Yakuza 6. There's spear fishing, and Kiryu dives into the water with a spear gun, and he goes through different levels attempting to spear fish. So I think it's similar.
Did you ever play the Amazon Trail as a kid?
The Oregon Trail?
No, it's like the offshoot because they had like
the knockoff
in Amazon.
They had like I think it was still Sierra. They had like a bunch of other ones. Like they had the Yukon Trail and like one was in the Amazon jungle. And when you're in a canoe, you saw these like weird like shadows, and you could like spear them, and you'd find out what kind of fish.
No, I haven't played that.
Oh, maybe it's like that.
I hope not. It looks like it has 3D graphics. I'm hoping it has graphics.
There's like a fish with like a water laser coming out of its mouth on the cover.
Geez.
See, that's why I'm not sure if I am a fish.
I think
hunting fish.
I think it's
Or
a
if
bullet.
I'm
I think it's a bullet hell shooter.
Yeah, like when I said shooter, I bet like shoot 'em up. Yeah.
Okay, I'm down with that. I'll play that. But the problem is I currently can't play it because the game's corrupted. So I have created a support ticket with LRG, and I will alert everyone how that goes in 2 weeks.
In the support ticket, he mentioned that if he didn't hear back in a certain amount of time, he'd be mentioning it on the podcast.
Which I already broke by mentioning it on the podcast currently. No, I don't blame them. I mean, shit happens, right? QA, no matter what you do. I am a software test engineer by trade, so I understand. I wrote a very good ticket, and I even attached a screenshot of my error, just like I would in my normal job. Oh God, what am I doing with my life?
So I've got this makes me afraid because as someone who collected a shit ton of LRG Vita games, many of those, probably a good 75 to 80% are not
sealed.
Opened. So I don't know if they are actually playable.
You bought a bunch of expensive plastic.
You're just holding those to resell them anyway. What do you care?
No? When am I going to resell my collection of Vita games?
So here's what's going to happen.
When they become valuable.
They're going to...
Ouch.
Like, you'll either resell them or they'll be destroyed in some way later. Like, your kid will do something
like
and
Godzilla.
break one. There will be, like, a window will break open and water damage will come in on them. Like, it's just a matter of time.
When your kid gets into games... See, this is the problem. When your kid gets into games, they're going to want games. And you're going to be like, kid, listen, your birthday's coming up soon. We're not going to get you a new game today. And then your kid is sly, so they're going to thieve your LRG games.
They're going to learn how to, like, use a razor blade to, like, kind of slit it open and, like, pull out that Vita game.
And then they're going to eBay that shit, and that's how they're going to get their games. So anyways, that's what you got to look forward to, Eric.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've heard of every once in a while someone's game screws up, and it's not just limited to LRG. So hopefully I'll just get a replacement. There's only 2,800 copies of Ace of Seafood out in the wild, so I'm kind of worried.
When I was at GameStop the other day, some guy came in and said that the game can't be switched off from French.
Really?
And so he was returning the game.
Yeah, I think that's a user error, but alright.
I was like, maybe you just couldn't find it in the menu.
Yeah.
Well, once it's in French and you don't speak French, I mean, unless you pull out Google Translate on your phone, it's not going to happen.
He's a weak gamer. But that's it for the news this past month and a half or whatever it's been.
So I'm going to let that break play for a minute. Given we're probably at like 45 minutes already, do you want to have the discussion into special topics for ideas, or do you want to just jump into outro and promo? I know we were trying to cut it a bit shorter rather than letting it run for like an hour plus.
I feel like this has been good.
Yeah, because there was actual talk around what we're playing, and we were all involved in playing something.
Let's just try to do this, and then we'll see what type of different segments develop out of it.
Why don't we end with you just talking about the retro thing you want to try?
Okay, I can do that.
Does that sound alright, Eric?
Yeah, perfect. I mean, we're still
can-
experimenting, so
Outro.
So I had an idea that we do a segment called the Retro Roundup.
It's a terrible name, but I'll listen.
Retro Renegades.
We don't have to use alliteration.
The retro. Okay.
R and R.
Anyways, basically,
Oh, what's the second R stand for?
Roundup.
Roundup,
Retro
Renegade.
and Roundup.
So, anyways, so what we do is I feel
And then
like
we intro with like kind of a Rage Against the Machine type rock.
No, please.
Intro
All right,
to
you're
it.
killing
We're
his
the
spot. You're
Retro
killing his spot.
Renegades.
Go, Matt.
Retro Renegades, the Renegades of Retro.
Ah.
And then like a terrible guitar solo.
All right, no, you gotta have the special
Their guitar solos aren't
effects.
terrible. They're just
You gotta have
they're
the
just-
pedal
they're just like
effects.
some scratching. So, anyway, so what I was thinking was in the past we've all tried to play through games together and talk about them on this podcast, but the three of us suck. And normally at least one of us...
We don't suck at playing games.
We suck
We
at
suck
committing.
at
Coordinating.
Yeah.
Well, also, like, one of us, like, if one of us hates the game,
It's very.
we're not going to play
It's
it.
very clear. I think Joey's made
Yeah,
it
we're
very
just going to be
clear.
like, wow, this game sucks. I played 5 minutes, it was dumb. And so then
Yeah.
we like move on. So I was thinking, if we all commit to playing a retro game of our choice, which retro means not current gen, basically. We could all talk about it and try to convince each other why this game is good and why they should play it. Stuff like that. For instance, I've been playing on my Super Nintendo Classic, Super Metroid, and I've been kind of blown away by how into it I've gotten. That was the idea.
That's
I was-
good.
I was-
Do you guys hate this idea?
Well, the only thing
Also, retro games are really in. Just saying, whenever I tag retro stuff on Instagram, everyone's like, what's up?
So you want us to talk about retro games for the exposure.
Yes, I'm selling out.
I can understand that. My only concern is that retro games can be long, so I think we'd have to choose retro games that aren't like crazy long.
Joey, the beauty of this is we're not all playing the same game.
Oh, we're not playing the same
Yeah,
game.
so-
I thought we
so
were playing
You
the same
play
game.
whatever you want. So if you start playing it and it sucks, you skip to the next retro game.
Okay.
And then next
okay.
time on the podcast, you're like, yeah, I started playing this time. It sucked, so I'm not playing the game. And then we're all like, wow, let's not play that game.
I gotcha. Okay, I'm down with that.
because
I can do
we're
that.
all trying to sell it to each other, right? That's the whole idea. So
Right.
So like there can be overlap if it happens to happen because we all play similar games, so that'll probably happen. But at the same time, they could all be different.
I'm down with that. That sounds good. Great idea. Great idea, Black Walls. Terrible title. Great idea.
Retro Renegades of Roundup. It sounds like we would be killing ants.
I don't know what I'd play. I don't have like a retro game that calls to me. Is it so how old are we going here?
Not this gen.
So PS3 is okay?
That's a retro game.
God damn. I played like 3 Yakuzas.
That's what I'm saying. It works for everybody.
Okay. I think we should go I think PS3 is too early. So
Okay,
Yeah.
so two
I was
two
just saying,
gens ago.
my
Two gen
definition of retro is at least pushing like PS1.
So it has to no PS2 is retro.
PS2 is
now.
retro. Totally retro.
DS is retro too now.
Really?
Yeah, because we have 3DS and Switch.
Yeah, but the only generation before 3DS was DS.
Okay,
And DS
Game
is
Boy
playable on
Advance is retro.
3DS.
I think at least, yeah, you need to skip a generation.
All right, so for Nintendo, Game Boy Advance, GameCube
All right.
is the newest.
Okay.
Sony PS2
Wii.
is Wii Retro.
Well, there's Switch and Wii U,
Okay,
so Wii.
You can add the Wii in there.
We can play Wii.
PS2, original Xbox, right? But
Yeah.
Yeah. But who's going to be doing that? Let's be
well, I mean, you could play those games on the Xbox One, right?
Ninja Gaiden.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, there's a lot of Xbox games that you can get on Xbox One. So that counts. A retro remaster counts, I would say. Like, for instance, if you're playing Devil May Cry 1 on PS3 or PS4, that still counts. Because it's a PS2 game.
Gotcha.
As long as it's not a remake, like a complete remake. If it's just a remaster, it counts.
Yeah.
Do PSP games count? Or is that a past generation?
Yeah.
Because it's...
Wait, what? Whoa. Yeah, I think
So
that counts.
PSP was at the same time as PS2, wasn't it?
Well, no, but if we're talking about
no, it was at the beginning of
generational,
PS3.
PSP was before the PS Vita.
I want to say yes because I love the PSP.
Are there any PSP games worth playing?
Yes.
Other
are
than
you kidding me?
Guitar Man?
Yes.
There's Crisis Core, Birth by
There's
Sleep.
there's like a bunch of translated ones too.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but that's different. That's translated.
No, but I just gave you two. Valkyria Chronicles 2, which is only available for PSP.
Crisis Core is great.
Yep.
Okay.
Trails
Patapon.
Just
in the sky.
Patapon.
That's a PSP game.
Alright, I'm down.
You can also play things that aren't around anymore, like Sega. Dreamcast counts.
Right. Yeah, I'm good.
All right. So with that, that is the end of our podcast for this week. You can find us on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, and online at geekenvy.podbean.com. You can also check out our Geek Envy Instagram, which is exactly that, Geek Envy. We kind of post about our separate interests, but also video games, comic books, movies, anything that pertains to Geek Envy. And if you have any comments, suggestions, questions, or anything that you want us to read out, answer, or just kind of shoot us a line, shoot that at askgeekenvy@gmail.com. With that, thank you for joining us this week, and we'll see you again.